Hi, and welcome to Meetings in Math. You are here for day 2 of solving one-step inequalities. And how can I use inverse steps to solve a one-step inequality? And how can I determine the correct inequality symbol to use in the solution? You need to make sure you have your Jaguar dots out, your pen or pencil, a highlighter is nice. We're going to start on page 2 of 4.2 and 4.3. You need to bring your positivity, your dedication, and your determination to do your best in this lesson. So let's go ahead and get started. We've already done some of the problems, and so now we're going to finish up these problems. 3, 4, 7, and 8 are the problems we're going to do. I want to have a little more space to work out some of the problems, so I'm going to actually use a piece of binder paper today, just because I want to make sure that you can see clearly what I'm doing. So I just moved over to a regular piece of binder paper so I could make some notations on it for you, so that you could remember where we were at our last lesson. So we're graphing negative 7 plus x is greater than or equal to negative 8. So the very first thing we need to do is to make a boundary. And we do that by changing it into the equation, because then we know that on one side it will be true and on the other side it will be false. So we now know that at negative 1 is the boundary between true and solutions and false, which are no solutions. Because of this right here, we know that these are closed circles. So at negative 1, I'm going to close my circle. And so I just do it in the bits and pieces as I come to it. So then the next thing I need to do is I need to find which side is true and which side is false. So which side is the solution and which side is not the solution. It doesn't matter which point I test so long as it is not the boundary. So I am going to test the point 0 into the inequality. So is negative 7 plus 0 greater than or equal to negative 8? So is negative 7 greater than or equal to negative 8? And the answer to that is true. So that means that this side is true and this side is false. So we always shade over the true side. And now we want to compare our x's to negative 1. And the x's, or all of the numbers, are greater or equal to negative 1. So this part, the part that's in that kind of plum color, that is our solution. The part that's in the yellow, that's just helping us get there. Number 4, x minus 1 is less than or equal to 3. I want you to try this one on your own and then come on back. So how did you do? Did you get that x is less than or equal to 4? And so your circle was on 4, colored in, and your arrow goes to the left. Okay, let's look at number 7 and 8. So number 7, 4x is greater than negative 16. Go ahead and do the boundary and test a point. Come on back and see how you did. Wow, you probably saw me using a lot of whiteout in that one. That's because I just wasn't paying attention to what I was doing. So you should have gotten that x was -4 for the boundary, And I tested 1, so it wasn't even on my number line when I decided to go test it. I decided I didn't want to multiply by negatives, and I didn't want to deal with the 0 because I know weird things sometimes happens with zeros. And so then I got it was true, and it went off to the right. Okay, and now let's look at number 8. Okay, so in this one, when I tested my point, I got x was -6. When I tested my point, I used -10. I chose something divisible by 2, so that I had a nice number. And then I got that that was true, and so they were less than -6. Something weird happened there, and that's okay. That is supposed to happen. So sometimes the inequality symbol in the solution is the same as the problems, and then sometimes it does switch directions like it did in the last time. And so what I want you to do tonight is I want you to look at those patterns and see what you notice about the pattern when it switches, and be ready to talk about that in class. If you can notice the pattern, you're going to notice an easy way to check your work. If you don't notice the pattern, it's okay. You can still do the problems, but noticing patterns in mathematics is something that we should always be looking for. The solution set of a one-step inequality itself is an inequality. When finding the solution set, first determine the boundary point by solving the related equation. Then test a point to determine the direction to shade the graph and correct inequality symbol for the solution. So that kind of gives the directions on what we've been doing the last 2 lessons. And make sure you have those written down because it will help you. We will also be doing a graphical organizer to kind of put these ideas together later. Thank you so much for joining us. And remember, be nice to each other because we always need some extra kindness in our lives. Bye for now.